Well, I knew it was coming. I mean, it's inevitable. It's pretty much the end of my riding season. So, I guess it's time to head on into the garage and finish up some unfinished projects. Because I certainly do not want to ride in that. Just came in from the house there watching Vancouver spank Seattle in the hockey game. I had to wait for my neighbor to shut down his karaoke rave that he was having there. I actually can't hear the terrible singing, but I guess he's got a sub right on this wall. And whenever he's got the music going, it just rattles the whole garage. I can't even hear myself thinking here, so I had to wait. But what I have here is the Southern Oregon Bagger center stand, and I have to say, it's a work of art. This piston is absolutely amazing. So nice. And the fit and finish of this thing is pretty spectacular too. It's, mind you, my version came with a great big gouge on the top, but they didn't charge me extra for it, so no big deal. Yeah, so I did notice on the YouTube that there are no videos of anybody installing these things. So I know Steve at Sick Baggers kind of started one and then got sidetracked with his exhaust problems, but I have the stock exhaust right back to the slip-ons, so I don't anticipate any serious issues. So yeah, I'm going to install it. I'm going to show my work and hopefully somebody gets something out of it. Alright, let's do it. Probably the first thing I should mention is how much I really love this switch. I have the AF Custom switch for the air ride system, and it comes with 2 switches, so I was going to just go ahead and use one of those switches. But this switch is so nice, like so well built. I feel really bad, or I would feel bad, ripping it out. So we'll see. The very first thing I want to do here is check this piston for throw before I get it on the bike. I just want to make sure that everything is the way it should be, or see if there's any issues that I should be dealing with before it gets on the bike, because I don't have one of those fancy stands that bring the bike up to chest level, so I'll be crawling on my belly like a reptile to do this. So turn some power on, and yeah, I'll leave it there at 12.7, and we'll see. Ooh. Whoa, don't do that. All right, that's nice. So let's hook it up and see what happens. Looks like the piston is hitting the hinge. I might have to make an adjustment here. All right. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, okay. The piston is hitting the hinge before it fully stops, but there is an adjustment back here. I'm going to take care of that really quick, and yeah, take it from there. Okay, there's a couple of bolts on the back side of this holding the piston onto the main plate. They're 3/16 hex, and there's probably about an inch of play there, or an inch of adjustment. Now this adjustment probably should be finalized on the bike, but I don't like the way the hinge is hitting the piston before it stops. Like, my OCD is going crazy, so I just want to get that fixed up first, and then we'll take it from there. All right. So I have it adjusted now, just, we'll see. Yeah. Yeah, it's beautiful. Like I said, it'll have to be finalized once it's on the bike. Okay, let's go put it on the bike and see what happens here. All right, first thing we do is put in this little bar. Guess I should check it for dirt and grime. Pretty good. All right. I probably should have mentioned this while it was on the bench. The actuator arm, you want to make sure that that thing's fully extended before you put this on the bike. It'll just make your life a whole lot easier when you go to put the nut and bolt on for the leg. Unless you have major concerns about your exhaust, then you'd probably want to leave it back, do a test fit, check that out. Then, when you go to install it, extend the actuator again. Now, you don't necessarily need one of these jacks to get this done. You can use anything you want to hold this plate up. A couple blocks of wood, some books, small child, whatever it takes to hold it up against the frame while you put the bolts in. And you don't really want to just ram it up against the frame. You want it a little bit loose. You want to be able to move everything around. Because you can't, when you're laying on the ground like this, you can't really see the holes and the plate above the frame. So everything's by feel. And you'll be moving things around trying to get those bolts in, trust me. I'd have to say that getting the bolts started was probably the hardest part of the whole process. I just used a screwdriver bit, lined up the holes, and it really wasn't all that bad. I purposely left this in real time just so you wouldn't think it was the magic of editing that got this done so quick. I'd have to say that getting the first bolt started was probably the hardest of the three. Yeah. There we go. There's one. I should probably mention too that once you get that first bolt in, don't tighten it all the way up. Just leave it, I don't know, halfway or so. Just, you want to leave a lot of play in that bar up top so that you can get the other bolt in. All right, let's loosen this off. There we go. Again with the bit to line up the holes. There's enough room up there for that little bar to move around quite a bit. You know, well, half an inch either way. So it's enough to move those holes around to the point where you can't get the bolt in. So the bit was the ticket for me. Yeah, you don't even want to think about hitting this stuff with an impact gun. Just nice and gentle with a hand wrench. You don't want to cross thread anything. Plus at this stage, I'm just kind of putting everything in loose. Once I'm happy with the way the whole thing's sitting in place, then I'll take the bolts out and Loctite them. All right, not too tight yet. I don't know if that third one's supposed to be in there or not, but you know what? I'm putting it in. Now, only 2 bolts came with this stand, but there's 3 holes in both the frame and the bar on top of the frame. So I just found a bolt that works, and I'm using 3. Alrighty, let's get it up off the ground. right, there we go. We'll just leave it just a little bit loose. And we should probably get some power to it and see how that goes. All right. Okay, so it hits the exhaust, but you know what? It's so out of the way. I am not even concerned. No, it's straight. Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Well, that was perfect. I don't think it gets much better than that. I think anybody who's running a stock exhaust like I am is not going to encounter any issues with it hitting. It did hit, but it pushed it like 1/8 of an inch. I'm calling that perfect. It's almost completely horizontal with the frame. It's right up out of the way. I don't know if it gets any better than that. So what I have to do now is I still have some air in the air ride system. So I have to get the battery, because I run a lithium battery, so I take it out in the winter because they don't like the cold. Put the battery back in the bike, lower it down, and see if there's going to be some adjustment that's needed for that leg. So that's what we're going to do now. Okay, I got the air out of the system. Let's see how low it goes. Nice. Okay, you can see that the legs are a little bit forward. The feet aren't perfectly flat on the floor. So I had to move the jack ahead of the bolts because I couldn't get at them with the jack in the way. So yeah, I didn't feel 100% comfortable taking the jack right out of here to do this with me crawling around underneath. I've been pinned under a motorcycle once. I didn't want it to happen again. So yeah, safety first. You'll see that with those bolts loose, and when the bike gets as low as it can go and fully resting on the stand will just find its own happy place. And then just tighten her up. I think that was the ticket right there. It definitely helps to have a nice level floor when you're doing this. Okay, it's the next day, and I have done all the adjustments I needed to do on that leg. It's standing straight up and down with the bike on the angle that it wants to be, with all the air out of the system, and both feet are flat on the floor. Tightened everything back up with Loctite. It's as good as it's going to get. The next thing is to install the switch, which means I have to pull the tank. So that's the next move.
Okay, well, it was pretty much just that easy. If you're not comfortable with the wiring, please have a professional do it. You don't want to screw something up. But as far as installing the stand itself, it was really a piece of cake. The only kind of snag that I ran into was I thought I was going to be able to take the black cover off the AF custom switch and put it on the SOB switch, because the SOB switch had a gray cover on it. Once I got everything all apart, I realized it's a completely different design. That wasn't happening. And I pretty much destroyed that AF custom, or like the little plastic ring that holds the AF custom switch on. Yeah, so now I have a gray switch and a black switch, and it's going to drive me nuts. I did already order up some different switches with a black cover, so I'll get that fixed up before the spring. And but other than that, it's all pretty straightforward for me. And I hope for you too. So that's it. I want to thank you for coming by, and I hope this helps you out. And we'll see you in the next one.